Pink sand beaches, Bermuda shorts, international businesses. The images that come to mind when describing Bermuda. But what about the other side? The side where basic housing is unattainable, jobs are difficult to find, or pay wages that are insufficient to support a family. A Bermuda where children are growing up without a basic nutritional diet, sufficient education, and a safe and secure community protecting them from the deadly world of drugs, gangs, and violence.
Welcome to part 2 of What's Really Going On in the Caribbean. This is a Dark Matter Radio presentation with your host, Ronnie McLean. And for I.N.N.A Live Under Thunder, we would like for you to subscribe and like the video, pass it around. There's a lot of information that's going to go on in here. Just want to give you guys a really good understanding of what's going on. Just want to really let you know what's really happening, right? So it's really, really important for us to have an understanding as to what's going on in our hemisphere and what's going on with our brothers and sisters down there in the Caribbean. Why there are so many in the United States, and what's really going on down there in terms of the politics of what's happening all around this world and how it's affecting the people in North America. It's crazy. It's crazy. All the things that we've been through up in the north would have a really great, deep impact and effect of what's really going on down there in the Caribbean. It's very, very eye-opening and awakening on how quickly we, the original indigenous beings of North America, must get ourselves together and really, really, really get ourselves awake and have an understanding of international, what's going on in international politics. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that we're so shut out and just sanctioned in our own little parts of the world within anybody. I mean, a lot of people don't travel, 15, 20 blocks away from the neighborhood in which they were born, which is pretty sad. Gives you a pretty limited view as to what's really going on around the world and what's happening, especially here in the Caribbean, where we really need to know what's happening because they're preparing for something extremely, extremely horrific. Our land and our country too. And it's important for us to understand that it's very important for us to understand that we must be able to have a really good understanding of what's really going on in the Caribbean.
So this is the reason why poverty must be looked at in the Caribbean. It's been an irritating issue for as long as anyone can remember. It's an issue that has caused many governments in the Caribbean and even worldwide grief and even resulted in political loss and demise of many political reputations. In truth, it's a very hard issue to overcome or even to rectify due to its magnitude of causes of both internal and external to that particular country. So when looking at this, poverty in the Caribbean is real. It is really real. And regardless of what the income levels are or whether or not you associate it with the United States itself, what I'm finding out is that the poverty rates are extremely high no matter where you go throughout all the islands. For the indigenous people, the carbon-based people that live there. And, some of the causes of poverty, in my opinion, are varied And I would like to start here. One, slavery, as a definition, the continued of slave, which further means to be helpless, victim, or of some dominating influence. And again, we get back to structural violence and a lot of things that are happening right there, right? And a lot of things, even though, you have the Emancipation Proclamation that Bob Marley speaks about, a famous Caribbean singer. And a lot of those countries have been free since 1838, almost 100 and some odd years. We still have a mindset that this whole entire system has put into us as to where we cannot really function on our own and have never been given the right to self-determination. So, when you look at this, they've never really even recovered from any of the hurricanes. And this is one of the reasons why you're having outside countries such as Russia and China, as we'll talk about later on, coming in and doing a whole lot of political changing. It's an extremely serious situation of the things that are actually seen there on the ground. Regardless of how beautiful.
So when you go to the Caribbean, you see a lot of beautiful landscape.
Crazy.
A lot of beautiful scenery. You see a lot of beautiful ocean waters that you always hear about. A lot of the bays and stuff like that. The plant life is just phenomenal. I mean, the experiences that you have is just one wonderful thing, and the people itself is just are just great. The people are just amazing. I mean, there's so many different things you can go in terms of caves, mountain climbing, swimming, snorkeling, and the fish. Which one do you say? A lot of people say fishes. A lot of people say fish, but the tropical fish are just amazing when you're out there just snorkeling and just enjoying it. And what you find you don't find a lot of people of what you call color, copper-based people, copper-colored people down in the Caribbean, down there vacationing, enjoying. But you do find a lot of copper-based, carbon-based people down there who live there, who have absolutely no control over anything but the sands of the beaches. It's just one big wonderful place. And a lot of the best places, like you're seeing right now, are places that the tourists go. That's why it's so beautiful, because they keep it up for the tourists. And when you go into the countryside, see exactly what's really going on, you get a little dismayed, a little depressing, because the people who actually live there, although they live in beautiful weather all the time, it's nothing like what the people who come there to live. Nothing like it. Nothing at all. So this is the reason why, same thing in terms of their economics and economy and stuff like that. They really don't control much. And as you're going to see, they really are in the same situation that we're in up here in North America, where they don't control their economy or their politics, even though some of the countries that I've been to are independent, but they had a integration rate of almost 75, 80%, 90%, where the actual people who are indigenous to the islands themselves are the real minority. So the real minority. It's quite interesting how we take that for granted, being that we're supposed to be the most populous people on the face of the earth. But in 1903, W.E.B. Du Bois, the leading scholar of the first half of the 20th century, had defined an urgency of the black social responsibility in the famous essay called The Talent 10. Just want to go over that real quick. 10 being the percentage of the so-called African American demographic needed to lead the race into an integrated, equal America. In The Talented 10, W.D. Du Bois called for intelligent leadership directed by college-trained, devoted to and through understanding of the mass of Negroes of their problems, for the purpose of solving these problems still so deeply entrenched half a century after the
abomination of slavery. And I'm here to tell you now that if that book would be written today, the talented 10 would not be people who are necessarily from a college background or even doctorate degree or anything else like that, because now the more education that you have, the more integrated that you are with inside of the system. But somebody who is soulfully inspired and awakened to understand what structural violence and structural abuse has done to a generation or a being of people over the past 500 years plus. It's very important for us to understand that what's going on here in the Caribbean is a wake-up call for everyone that's going in North America. And we must be able to do what needs to be done in order for us to be able to help all of our people. Because remember, there's a lot of our people that are on the islands that actually came from North America from that slave trade. It was part of the North Carolinian slave trade. So now what we're going to do in part 3, we're going to be going over the social and economic situation that's going on, and military situations going on all around the world that's having an impact on the Caribbean. This is Ronnie McLean for Dark Matter Radio. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being here. There's been an awakening. Have you felt it? You're listening to Dark Matter Radio with your host,